a gentleman who's in this position permanently, only his legs are like up here. He can't bend. So you know, for him, if you have seen those tables that are height adjustable, we have them, and you just bring the surface of the table and you can bring it right across him, and you can tilt it or whatever. What I'm saying is there are tables that are already made that you might be able to adjust your system to a table, or at least look at how they're made and use what exists that works. The round base scares me a whole lot.
Going back to the beginning of the process and the check-in process, have we thought about self-check-in like we do at the Home Depot or the grocery store, where we can just check ourselves in the boat?
They have, and there's been some discussion around it, and I think the idea is to test that with voters, because there's been some discussion about it and whether you know, how effective that will be, whether voters really like it. There's one train of thought of, you know, well, this is great, the self-check-in, it speeds things up and you can get it done. And then there's the other of, well, there may be voters that need assistance for the check-in if there's not someone available, how do you do that? And then the other one of just, you know, we don't know whether there's some fundamental kind of tie for voters to just feel more confident if there's someone checking folks in, and it doesn't seem like anyone's just walking up and voting, that there's this check around these whole concerns of, well, who's protecting that there isn't voter fraud, and how do you know that this person hasn't voted like 3 times and is checking in with different names, you know? So because we know there's also those concerns that circulate around this world, that's one of those that's been to, you know, hey, when we test voter experiences, let's pay particular attention to the options of how people can check in and learn about where they're at. But self-check-in was the immediate one of like, that'd be great. If we're making it for people to be able to do that, we should allow people to self-check-in, and then maybe there could be folks that are assisting those that need assistance. And so there has been a lot. That's a long roundabout way of saying it's been part of the discussion, and we're at a stage where it's like, why don't you just test different types of ways to do it and see what people think.
And I just wanted to comment on what Terry was saying. Have you ever thought about, instead of creating standalone bases, stuff that braces to a wall? You can like screw into a wall or like temporarily, because they have pretty good adhesive stuff now where you can just brace it to the wall at different levels and different heights.
Scott, the concern there is going to be that we don't own the poll places.
Yeah.
So, but at boat centers, I guess it's a possibility, but it's definitely, you know, it would be great to
or what
have
exists
permanent
out there,
places, right?
Okay.
My name is Danny Garcia, and I want to express my deep happiness and congratulations to the team that you provide a lot of you have taken a lot of ideas into consideration. I want to express my gratitude to the conference number 1, because it's very thoughtful and very accessible from my standpoint of view. For wheelchair, for anybody who wants to use it. The thing that I want to express my concern is, my area of concern is the area of expertise. And my area of expertise is assistive technology. And my concern is this. Is any the program or in the task screen where voters can scan while you touch it, scan. So give you a scanning device, a scanning program where you can actually say number 1 would be it will read to you the scanning, and then it will be saying number 1 by President of the United States and you click on the tablet or whatever the screen you have is, you touch it, and then you put, and then it says to you that is this your vote?
Right.
Yeah. Yes. You touch, allow you to touch it again. And then you move on to the next one. Therefore, you have a better understanding of scanning mechanism. So it's that where you want to be established. In that device, I think you have actually you have more alternatives into that category of programming, because the issue that you have people who don't use their arm, but can use other the legs. You can put literally a tablet in the leg and touch it. Okay? You can actually move tablet with the elbow, or tablet with anything that you can actually get. The scanning mechanism is the key for them. Okay? And that's where I feel. Okay? And and then number two issue is that I know what software are they going to use for magnifying the for magnification for the visually impaired or blind. Well, I'm hoping that you can look for other source like Magic or like Enlarge or something like that that can actually have a better you can move on and touch it. Those elements that you can incorporate. And also, I'm pretty sure that George would like to help you out. For people who are actually in the field or that they like to incorporate George. So you have a lot of application there that can assist you to make it better and accessible for everybody. But I want to congratulate the team. You guys have excellent ideas, and I'm very pleased.
Well, a lot of it is with y'all's guidance, everything we've learned in the process. So I don't think the good thing is all we're doing right now is bringing up questions.
I know.
And we're hoping to solve a lot of those. And your comments are very valuable, especially around thinking about how do you structure the scanning process so that it could be doing multiple verification. Don't wait till the end and then have someone re-review everything. You could be doing it as you're going. And then the other is expanding your idea of how the tablet's going to be used. That it's not only going to be used like touching with your finger. That the beauty of the new touchscreen technology and a lot of the technology that's out there is that you can adapt it so that it could be used with different parts of the body, different limbs, just to facilitate independent marking and be able to do that. And then the last one was with considerations for the software magnification. I know that IDEO is going to start to bring in teams that are going to start doing a lot of research on what are the technologies out there that could be integrated. I think their philosophy along with ours is don't reinvent the wheel, see what has succeeded and figure out how you integrate that into your solution so that you could get a lot of things working together. So I think you mentioned two products, Enlarge and Massive.
Enlarge or Magic.
Magic.
If anybody who in the phone can help me out, please let me hear.
We will, and I know I'll pass this along to them, and also making sure of JAWS as a technology.
Yeah. So Donna and Artis had a pretty lengthy conversation with IDEO the other day about number of these subjects. I don't know if they got into some of the specific technology. The other thing, this is sort of a gear shift, and then we'll shift back. I'm not sure that everybody's aware that we have a technical advisory committee, and there are 2 members of that technical advisory committee that are either echoing a lot of the things you're saying or have some other ideas, but we want to hear specific ideas like the ones you had today. But the 2 members are
Noel Runyon and Diane Golden.
Noel Runyon and Diane Golden.
And Diane Golden, yeah, are the 2 members on our technical advisory committee that are really helping advise the process on, on accessibility and providing.
And then on an informal and maybe more steady basis, I think a partner who's been very interested in sharing what they've learned in some of their research has been Georgia Tech's Research Institute, which is focused specifically on accessible voting technology. So they've been funded by the EAC for a couple of years now and have been doing a lot of field testing and a lot of work around some of these issues. So they've been very helpful in sort of saying, hey, we're accessible for IDEO to pick our brains. We're open to sharing all the research and data that we have for you guys to use in your project. So that's been very helpful as well.
Can I just speak about
Thanks for bringing up the
Donna.
technical advisory committee.
Go ahead, Donna.
I do have a concern of naming specific software programs and technology. I've seen people get into some really bad situations by being software specific. I know that JAWS and Magic and other things were named. You have so many different screen readers that are being used by the blind community. JAWS is one of them. And same thing with the magnification programs. Magic is one of them, but there are a number of others. So I just want to express a concern of locking yourself into a specific piece of software, because they all have their strengths and weaknesses. So I'd just like to exercise a bit of caution on that.
Great, thank you for that, Donna. So,
Terry?
I was just looking at this again, and if they could figure out a way to stabilize the one that's just one pole upright, if they could figure out a different base and a different way to stabilize it. One of the things that's kind of attractive about this is that the part where you would have your technology attached, if there was, if the pole is here and you had like kind of one of those metal, you know how it clamps in?
they envisioned for then you
You
can
could-
appreciate that like a ball joint to allow for full rotating mobility and directional and stuff. At least in their initial, when they have it there and you can't appreciate it as much here, it's like this joint that sits on it but allows
Yeah.
for movement in different direction rather than just up and down, which
Yeah.
everything is.
Yeah, I like the concept. I just
Yeah.
hope they find something that's really stable and isn't gonna just move on the person. But one of the things that could be done with this kind of idea is we actually have had some voters who vote with their feet. And they use their feet the way we use our hands. And then you could take this shelf and move it
To the bottom.
to the bottom, which would be great, because the only way we could do it before is holding the device for them. You're like down on the ground holding it.
I just have a question, piggyback on what you're saying, and it's just merely, we know that technology today affords us the tablet size large enough. Do you believe the existing tablets that we have, like for an iPad, is large enough for an able person with low vision to be able to use this? Because it's
The
beautiful.
larger
Largest
iPad,
that's
yeah.
available. I mean, right
Yeah.
now I know.
Yeah.
Because this is too small.
Exactly, and that's
Yeah.
all I'm saying. My main concern for those who have low vision, will the existing tablets as functional, smooth as it is, but is it, large enough screen-wise for them to be able him or her to vote easily, as those who would want to use their feet if they had to. And I think that's the only concern right now, because we know technology is getting smaller, but the average iPad right now is about 10 inches in diameter. Is it as sufficient? Should it be a little larger that would encompass everybody able to use it with more ease? And that's the only thing that I think right now that I would be concerned about using the touchscreen. For the technology, it's
Sure.
great, but for
Yeah.
the screen size is another factor.
Yeah, yeah, if you go too small, like,
Yeah.
like this, there are gonna be people who
It's
just,
not gonna be able to use it.
yeah, they're gonna make so many mistakes. I mean, people with Parkinson's or
Yeah.
types of CP, what you've gotta envision is the person's like this.
Sure.
That,
So,
yeah.
you know, you either have to have a overlay so that they can rest, once they rest their hand on something, some of the movement stops. And then they can just go across, and the overlay is a thick, like plastic that could go on the screen, and then they wait till the hole comes in the place where they want to touch. And it's just a more surefire way of hitting the right thing.
That's just my only concern for those who, like you said, there's sufficient screen size in order for them to do what they have to do.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I need to do a little bit of a time
Yeah, I
check
was
here.
gonna say
Okay.
with the
So
segue
I
to-
need a little advice from Julia. We have an absolute hard stop at 3 and maybe even a couple minutes earlier for some of us. So Julia, you wanna tell, or can we move any of these items to a subsequent meeting, or do you
Yes.
wanna hit
Yeah.
one?
Oh, yeah, actually, the Secretary of State one, we can do another time, or I can send them the information.
Okay, and then the emergency vote by mail application, audio sample?
Oh, then we can move too. so.
Okay, and
Monday, move to next week as
the
well.
outreach to voters with disability updates?
Mm,
So Monica, what's your input on the rest of the time? Or, Brian?
You know, all I have to is provide you guys with next steps where we're going with the project, and we'll be done. And then
Let's do that and then see if we can fit any more items in. Anybody else want to make sure we cover everything? I just want to, this is a really great conversation. And as usual, I look at the agenda and I'm like,